Okay, here we go, Darren. It is Wednesday action in the SoCon and implications all over the standings. We've got ETSU hosting Wofford and Western Carolina hosting Mercer. And this is a situation where, hey, congratulations again to ETSU. They've clinched the #1 seed, regular season title. But this is not a situation where now, hey, you've got that trophy for the regular season. You got to keep continuing to play well. And Wofford's come in here sitting there tied for second with Mercer. So trying to keep pace with Mercer. They want that #2 spot. So you can't tell me this is not a big time game there in Johnson City.
No, huge game, major implications. As we talked about off air, Wofford didn't have Kamari Holmes last matchup, and it was one of those wild snow games, right? So
yes,
I kind of look at last game as a little bit of an anomaly of, we didn't get to see the real Wofford, and not to give them an excuse, but I certainly think this is going to be a better game tomorrow than the 86-72 game in Spartanburg earlier this month.
Well, at least we know Wofford's going to be full strength outside of Luke Flynn. I still don't think he's going to play, and hopefully Brian Sumter will be 100% after the flu that he's had, and that was a big impact in that game against Furman. But
Huge.
You go back to that 86-72 loss there for the Terriers at home, and again, you talked about it. I mean, that was a crazy situation. I was credentialed to go to that game. I was looking forward to it. And they wouldn't allow anybody there. It was only students that were allowed because that was the snowstorm that came through that kind of wreaked havoc all over the Southeast and especially in the footprint of the Southern Conference. But in that game, there was definitely something about ETSU focusing on what they do best, and that's interior dominance. Cam Morris, the third, he couldn't be stopped. 22 points, 7 rebounds, 5 steals in this game. But what really stood out is turnovers, and not so much just the number of turnovers, but what ETSU was able to do with those turnovers. And we've talked about it several times. Live ball turnovers are backbreakers, Killers. And they make a huge difference. And in this game, ETSU had 19 points off of turnovers. Wofford had 0.
Wow.
0 points off of turnovers. So not all turnovers are created equal. It is important what you do with them. And we know ETSU is one of the best defensive teams in the league. And even from a steals perspective, a defensive efficiency perspective, opponent's field goal percentage, scoring defense, all of those things. So then when you combine that with the ability to take advantage of the turnovers, I mean, it's going to be very difficult to win. And then also, ETSU was 26 of 28 from the free throw line because they made it a point of getting into the paint, and that's one of their strengths, Darren.
Oh, in the half court, I think that is their biggest strength. I mean, they're just looking to go out there and hoop and punch the paint. And to your point, they did a really good job of generating points off turnovers against a Wofford team that doesn't turn the ball over very much. Takes care of it, and look, it's a well-oiled machine offensively, the Wofford Terriers are. And so to get 19 points off turnovers, you're going to have a tough time winning any game. Even if you turn it over, the minimum amount of times to get 19 points off turnovers. Yes. Somebody scores 19 points off turnovers, the vast majority of which are probably live ball turnovers, you're not winning a whole lot of basketball games. And I suspect certainly that is one of the keys here that I've got written down for Wofford is to make sure they take care of the basketball. But that's something that they have done all year. So I would anticipate, especially with Kamari Holmes back in the lineup, that they will take better care of the ball. But they certainly cannot give up, 19, 20 points off turnovers and expect to have any chance to win this game.
That's right. Yeah. And they also gave up 19 points in second chance opportunities there for ETSU because ETSU had 11 offensive rebounds. And again, that's going back to the strength of ETSU. When you've got Blake Barkley, you've got Cam Morris the third, you've got Jordan McCollum also being able to contribute there inside. And then also don't forget about Brian Taylor the second, who was just named SoCon Player of the Week. And yes, we said it first. We knew that he was going to be SoCon Player of the Week this week. But he's a guard who can rebound also. And that's what makes him extremely difficult because he is a problem in this league. He might not be the flashy type of guy like we've talked about, but there's no doubt that he can get things going and be the closer for ETSU. And when I look at this game now, there in Johnson City. This is going to be about how ETSU is going to respond after somewhat reaching the mountaintop, getting that number one seed, getting the regular season title for the first time since the 2019-20 season. And now, can they continue their pathway in terms of playing elite level basketball, playing connected? And then Wofford, you're going to have to shoot better from the perimeter.
Yeah.
And, can you turn this into a perimeter game rather than an inside game? I think that's going to be the key for Wofford, is that we know they don't have the size to be able to compete consistently with ETSU in the paint. But Kamari Holmes, he can get to the paint. He can get some of those paint touches.
Yeah,
so can he be a guy that also tries to get to the free throw line? But at the end of the day, I mean, Wofford shot 22% in the second half in that game there at home. You're going to have to shoot better from the perimeter. And I think this is going to be a situation where for Wofford to win this game, they're going to have to get hot from beyond the arc. And Niels Mahofsky's going to have to be one of those guys. And can Kamari Holmes also knock down some three-point shots?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, kind of reiterating some of what you said, three of the biggest keys for me for Wofford coming into this game are, we talked a little bit about it, interior presence and rebounding. They have to close the gap in the rebounding battle. They got out-rebounded 35-24 in Spartanburg, and you already mentioned it, gave up 19 second-chance points to ETSU. That can't happen if they're going to be able to go to Johnson City and win. You also mentioned the perimeter piece. To me, and this is not any disrespect to Wofford, but Wofford's interior, but Wofford's strength is their backcourt. They've got a really good backcourt. They've got depth in that backcourt. They can score it in a lot of different ways in that backcourt. So for me, backcourt production, they got to get Holmes, McCoskey, and Watley going. Those three guys have to get going. Throw Caden Vasco in there as well. But obviously, he can play a number of different roles. But they got to get that perimeter production, and it's got to be from punching the paint and spraying out for threes, and it's got to be in the natural flow of their offense, generating threes like they do. And then the third piece, I really think Wofford has to defend without fouling. You mentioned it. ETSU shot 28 free throws in that first game. 28 free throws on the road, okay? Not at home, on the road.
Not at home.
Yeah. So Wofford's going to have to defend without fouling. Now, getting Kamari Holmes back, broken record, should help that significantly. He is a big, strong, athletic guard. He is going to help that, right? But they cannot allow ETSU to go to the free throw line 28 times and expect to win this game.
No question about it. And ETSU made 26 of those 28 free throws. So, they were very efficient. So at the end of the day, though, I think this is also one of those games where I'm not certain it's a good matchup for Wofford. ETSU just with their interior strength. And so I expect ETSU to win this game there in Johnson City.
Yeah, I think that if ETSU, kind of looking at what they need to do now, before I give you the final thought, I think they absolutely have to guard the 3-point line, right? If they can guard the 3-point line and take away that perimeter production, it's going to be really hard for Wofford to win, because as we've talked about, the interior presence, the strength, the physicality of ETSU, that's already a check against Wofford. Right there. They need to disrupt Wofford offensively, and those two kind of go together. Wofford's a really efficient offensive team. When they're clicking, they can really score it from the perimeter. Can ETSU disrupt their offensive flow and make things difficult, which they have done a very good job of throughout the year with their physicality. I think they need to continue to dominate the glass. Again, if they can dominate the glass, it's going to be really tough for Wofford, unless Wofford shoots a ridiculous percentage, because if they're going to be one and done, you're going to get transition opportunities for ETSU as well, and you're going to get more opportunities to score against a defense that's not set. And then I think they've got to continue getting dribble penetration. They have done a great job all year, especially in the half court. That is their biggest thing, is punching that paint and scoring at the rim, or being able to spray out and get teams in rotations. And so can they take advantage of a lack of size in the Wofford interior to really be able to punish Wofford with paint touches? If they can do that, I think that it's going to be hard for Wofford to win this game. I think this is a big game for Wofford. because they want to keep pace. And I think it's going to be a really good game. But I am a little bit concerned about the lack of interior presence that Wofford has, especially with Sumter coming off that illness and really basically not playing the last 2 games. Do I think Wofford can go in there and win? 100%. Would I be surprised if they do? No. But I agree with you. I'm a little bit concerned about some of the things that ETSU does really well and that Wofford maybe isn't as good in. And I like ETSU to get this one as well.
There we go. All right, let's head to Cullowhee real quick as we've got the Western Carolina Catamounts hosting the Mercer Bears. And this is, again, the Catamounts coming off of 4 straight victories. Can they get their 5th victory? We know it's difficult to play in Cullowhee. Mercer took care of business at their last meeting back in January. Yeah, and this was a barn burner from the beginning as Mercer jumps out 13-0 run to start the game. Yeah. And that was it. That was the backbreaker there for Western Carolina. And they just couldn't catch up from that standpoint because you got Barack Okoje and you got Armani Mighty that just had stellar games. Armani Mighty with a double-double, at 19 points, 15 rebounds. And you also had Zaire Williams have a really good game. So you got some of the extra production that you need on the offensive side. So when I look at this matchup, this is going to come back down to what we've seen from Mercer. They've been really good at home, but can they win on the road? Yeah. And especially in a tough environment like Cullowhee, and Cullowhee now with a little bit of momentum for the Catamounts, again, trying to get their 5th victory, and they want to finish in that top 6 position so they can get that bye in Asheville. And I think this is another situation for Western Carolina. Can you get this game into a perimeter game also? Now, you do have some front court size, no question about it, but you've got some perimeter guys. You've got some depth there on the perimeter, and we've talked about it. If they can get some double-figure scoring from 4 guys, watch out. They're extremely difficult to beat. But I think right now, Mercer, I think with the ability of Okoje getting to the free throw line, I think he's a true difference maker. So I'm going with the Mercer Bears stealing one on the road.
Yeah, no, I think you bring up some great points and some real keys. I think kind of going through what each team really needs to do here. I think for Mercer, they've got to limit, and you mentioned it, they got to limit Western's firepower, right? They've got they being Western Carolina, have some strong skill on the perimeter. They can really get guys going. Mercer's got to limit that. They got to turn Western over. They turned Western over a ton in Macon, and it really helped them generate some easy offensive possessions and score it. They need to control the pace. If they can play this thing really up and down like they want to, I do think that really favors Mercer here. And ideally, can they get 3 or 4 guys in double figures? We know what we're probably going to get from Okoje. We know what we're going to get from Mighty. But can they get Zaire Williams again, like he did the first matchup, or Quentin Perkins? Can they get 1 or both of those guys in double figures? Because if Western is able to score it like they have, you're going to have to get 4 guys in double figures to be able to beat them in what's going to be probably a quicker tempo game where there's going to be a lot of points scored. Conversely, I think for Western Carolina, they've got to limit the turnovers. Mercer, like I mentioned, they got 21 points off turnovers in Macon. Mercer did. That can't happen. You're going to lose if you give up 21 points off turnovers. They need to get 4 guys in double figures. When they're at their best, when they win, they get 4 to 5 guys in double figures. And secondly, or thirdly, I should say, defensively, they have to defend without fouling. You've brought it up really, really wisely throughout this conference season as you've seen them. At times, they struggle to defend without fouling. And if you put Mercer, a team that likes to get to the free throw line, particularly with Baraka Okoje, again, guy shoots at a high clip from the free throw line, you're going to give him easy points. So they got to defend without fouling. 28 free throws for Mercer in that first matchup. And they've got to limit paint touches. Okoje gets into the paint. He helps generate offense for others, and he gets his, and then he also gets the foul line. And the last thing, sounds simple, they got to shoot it well. If Western's going to be able to keep up in this game, they're going to have to shoot it well. If they don't shoot it well, I don't think they're a good enough, consistent defensive team to not be able to shoot it well in a game that's going to probably be up and down with the pace that Mercer plays to be able to win the game. I am in agreement with you overall. I think this is going to be a good game. I don't think this one's going to be a blowout. I just think Mercer's really, really good. And so I do think Mercer is gonna come in here on the road and pull this one out.
Yeah, there we go. Basketball's an easy game. Just put the ball in the basket.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can get some wins, and we'll see what happens as we have great Wednesday action. And also, we've got Thursday action in the SoCon. So make sure you subscribe to SoCon Fast Break because we've got some game previews for Thursday games. And then, of course, the big SoCon Saturday also. So hit that subscribe or follow button. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, including the iHeartRadio app. Until next time, may all your jumpers hit nothing but the bottom of the net.